DETV News is powered by DART, Delaware's transit service. Moving forward.
Hey everybody, it's April from DETV, and guess where I am at? I am here. I am at Nerdit. Nerdit has so many things that we use on an everyday basis. Everything in this place is at half off on a retail level. Let me just show you some of the things that we found here at Nerdit. We got laptops, Apple products, Dell products, all for very low prices. We got the Acers here. How many parents really don't have time to do family trips or whatever? We go in our backyard, we fill up this pool, boom, and you got the goggles to go with the pool. I ain't worried about the kids getting chlorine in their eyes. This is super cool. This will keep the kids engaged. The colors are bright and energetic. So y'all looking for the summertime water shoes for the kids? Nerdit now got Nike water shoes. Beauty Rest mattresses. Who needs a new mattress? What are these? Twin size, full size mattresses? Brand new mattresses in the bags, y'all. 16-inch fans, 12-inch fans, 5,000 BTU air conditioners, y'all. Spider-Man. This one might not be here either. I might buy this for my granddaughter. We got the Christmas scented smell goods. You getting ready for the holidays. We got the security cameras. You need to make sure that the house is protected when you're away. You got the Ninja. You got the food processors going on in here. Wow. You want the kids to run outside. You know they tearing up some stuff and we've got to replace them shoes every couple of months. Come on out here. All right, guys, this is April in the Small Business Network here over at DETV. Where you want me to go next? Put it in the comments and I am there.
Tonight, a University of Delaware graduate student is dead and 8 others hurt after a man wanted in 3 states drove through Newark's Main Street, why he was out of jail in the first place, and how Newark City leaders are responding. Plus, Delaware Governor Matt Meyer says that Delaware will not enforce drivers to go electric, why he's reversing course on the state's EV rules, and the backlash it's already sparking. And a new scam is hitting Delaware phones claiming you owe E-ZPass fees. We'll show you how to spot the fake and protect your wallet. Those stories, your local forecast, weekend events, DETV's local sports report, and much more coming up. The DETV News podcast starts now. Hello and welcome to DETV News for Thursday, May 1st. I'm Matt Ford. Hey, look, before we dive in, if things look and sound a little different tonight, well, that's because they are. We're testing out a fresh format for DETV News, more conversational, podcast style, if you will, and we want you to be a part of it. I'm joined this week by our senior producer, Patty Nash, who's going to jump in with some extra content. Patty, happy to have you here.
Thank you, Matt. Great to be here.
Good. Excited to have you. You ready to do this?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, let's talk about the biggest stories happening across Delaware this week. So we want you to think of this as not just your local news, but with a little more talk, and we'd love to hear from you as well. So drop a comment or a message below and join the conversation. Let's get started. Here's what's making headlines this week around the first state. As you know, Memorial Demanding Answers now sits on Newark's Main Street, marking the spot where a University of Delaware student lost her life in a crash that has shaken the college town to its core. Police say 22-year-old Gordon Turner of Newcastle, Delaware, was behind the wheel of a stolen U-Haul van on Tuesday, April 29th, when he plowed into pedestrians and parked cars, killing a 24-year-old UD grad student and seriously injuring another. Now, in total, 8 people were hurt, including the driver himself. He's now charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder, multiple counts of assault, and fleeing from police. Officials say he was a fugitive wanted in 3 states and that a gun was found in that U-Haul van. His passenger has not been charged, well, at least not yet.
This has really upset the business community, the whole community, Matt. The businesses, the students. There was a petition drawn for more safety improvements, more speed bumps on Main Street. It garnered 11,000 signatures in 2 days.
And it's made national news.
Oh,
yes.
This
is huge.
Oh,
this is
yes.
big.
I mean, it's a tragedy for the university. Yeah. And there's going to be a meeting, which you'll hear more about in just a moment, for leaders to talk about solutions. But we have an interesting solution here. We're going to let you know about it in just a minute after Matt gives you some more detail about this evolving story.
Yeah. More details here, Patty, on Newark. Police say that they did not chase that U-Haul. There were some rumors about whether they chased it. They did not, and they did follow proper protocol. Now, Delaware Attorney General Kathy Jennings backed up what Newark police officers were saying, and they said that the officers acted in accordance with proper policy. Now, Turner, the driver, he's being held today on more than $300,000 cash bond. But for residents in the UD community, the loss, as Patty says, feels tragically familiar. The school year began with the death of a freshman, Noelia Gomez. We told you about that last year here on the news, who was hit by a fleeing motorcycle right on Main Street. That was in August at the beginning of the semester. Then just a couple months later in October, another UD student was injured in a very similar crash. The latest incident bookmarks a year that was certainly, Patty, as you said, marked by sorrow and sparks new concerns and an urgency around pedestrian safety and pursuit policy. So,
well, they're talking about more speed bumps, which is an obvious solution. The mayor's also talking about ways that they can stop high-speed chases. As said, police did not initiate a high-speed chase in this instance, but those can often lead to accidents in the community. So police are highly aware of how fast they're driving. It'll be interesting to see how the mayor proposes to stop those fleeing criminals. I don't know how. But I did hear, Matt, that you have an interesting solution, an interesting take on this.
I do.
And what do you think about Main Street in Newark?
I mean, listen, I was a UD student, and I am, as an older millennial now that drives down Main Street. Listen,
Right.
I'm a geriatric millennial. I think that Main Street should be shut down. I said it. I think it should be shut down to pedestrians only. First of all, it takes 20 minutes to drive down Main Street.
Right.
In and of itself. So
Right.
I'm saying from the corner of, I think that's Chapel Street where Seasons Pizza is, all the way down to the Deer Park, what we think of as the main drag of Main Street.
Right.
Why can't it just be shut down to pedestrians only? And maybe it's only during the 15-week fall and spring semester. And open it up for summer and winter.
Okay. Well, let's put that one on the table in Newark and see if it gets any support.
Right.
Okay.
So we want to let you know that there was a press conference earlier this week as well, and the Newark mayor, as Patty had said, his name is Travis McDermott. He acknowledged the growing concerns about these issues. So City of Newark, university, and state leaders plan to hold a joint meeting to consider safety upgrades on Main Street. As you said, Patty, we don't have an exact date on when this meeting is, but it's going to include possible traffic calming measures, speed bumps, whatever that may be. And that's going into the investigation as well. And authorities are asking if anyone happens to have video of the incident that happened on Tuesday, you are asked to send that over to authorities so that they can, get that into their investigation.
Yeah, and I don't think this story is going away. I mean, I think that, this latest accident, this latest tragedy really rises it to the level of community urgency, and they will take some steps.
Now, UD has done in the past couple of years these bump outs, like on each of the corners. I personally don't believe that they work. I have them in my neighborhood, and we have people speeding right down the neighborhood all the time. I'm not a huge fan of bump outs, but it's when, the edge grows out, and I just don't think
Yes,
it's
I've
enough.
seen those. I've driven over a couple.
Yeah, no, I get it. You and many other people, my friend. You and many other people. Hey, listen, a lot of people were asking, what is Turner's background? And we did some investigation, and we want to let you know some tough stuff here. So meanwhile, the driver, Turner's criminal past is under scrutiny today. He was reportedly out of jail in Maryland after serving just 1 year of a 5-year sentence tied to a 2023 shooting. And he had active warrants in not one, not two, but 3 states when the crash happened earlier this week in Newark. Now, according to some court records that we looked at earlier today, Turner originally faced 32 charges, including 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder after allegedly opening fire on a vehicle in Elkton, Maryland, so not far from Newark. Just last March, he was arrested 4 months later, but ultimately struck a plea deal, admitting to just 4 misdemeanor weapons charges. His 5-year prison sentence was reduced to 1 year, and the rest was suspended. Now, he was also placed on probation, but Turner violated that probation, skipped a court hearing in February, and a bench warrant was issued for his arrest. He was also wanted in our neighboring state of Pennsylvania where state police say he led them on a 109 mile per hour chase up in Lancaster County in early 2023. He allegedly threw a gun with a 30-round magazine out the window and was later charged with 18 crimes. He posted bail, then skipped his formal arraignment. I'm seeing a pattern here. Turner's legal troubles stretch even further. Georgia, down south, also has a warrant out for him. Delaware Attorney General Kathy Jennings said that Turner should not be released under any circumstances, and the multi-state warrants should help him remain in custody.
Well, let's hope that he does.
Yeah, so I hope justice. Right. Hopefully, justice will be served.
Justice will be served,
especially the young woman whose family is understandably grieving today.
Yes, yes, and the 8 people who were injured.
Yeah, okay.
Who knows how long a road they have back to normal life.
Right.
Something like this, it affects people, many, many people, witnesses, the paramedics, the first responders, everybody.
The whole UD community.
The whole
really
UD
grilling,
community, yes. Yes.
So turning to other news now. Patty, listen to this. The Cape May Lewis ferry was delayed this week after an unexploded World War II bomb was found in the Cape May Canal. Now, the Coast Guard shut down the waterway Monday evening, forcing the MV Delaware ferry to turn back to Lewis. Now, a bomb squad later neutralized the ordnance, and ferry service did resume that next Tuesday morning. Officials actually say, which I didn't know this, finding World War II munitions in the water actually isn't that unusual, and they were often dumped at sea after the war. I found this fascinating.
So then they're dumped at sea and gravitate and make their way toward...
Your guess is as good as mine. But I was
a journalism major, so it's above my head.
It's very interesting. So Attorney General Kathy Jennings is spearheading, Patty, a multi-state lawsuit against the Trump administration's proposed AmeriCorps cut. This is hard to hear, which would slash over $1 million in grants to organizations here in the first state. The plan would reduce AmeriCorps' workforce by nearly 90% and cancel $400 million in national funding. AG Jennings called the cuts, quote, unlawful and heartless, warning that they devastate community programs. Delaware joins over 20 states challenging the legality of dismantling federally authorized initiatives like AmeriCorps.
It's hard to keep track of all the different cuts that are going on.
It's a lot.
AmeriCorps, for those of you that don't know, it's a federal agency that connects people and organizations to solve problems in communities, particularly those underserved communities. And it's a shame that there might be any monies taken away from this worthwhile cause that's been going on for many years.
I want to move on now to an update to a story that we told you about a few weeks ago. The University of Delaware confirmed this week that 8 UD-sponsored visa holders had their records restored after sudden termination by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security earlier this month. We talked about that. The group included 3 current students and 5 on post-graduation work authorization. Now, University of Delaware officials were not notified in advance. Staff are now assisting individuals. Similar incidents, as you may have heard, have occurred at other schools nationwide. So those students will be able to stay here.
The numbers fluctuate as to what it's going on nationally. I've seen statistics of 1,500, 4,700 students whose visas have been revoked. This has raised, as you can imagine, great concern among international students, their colleges and universities, and basically the whole educational community is very worried and concerned for these students.
It's an upheaval, right?
It is an upheaval. It really is.
Now, Delaware's Port of Wilmington expansion remains contentious this week after the Port Expansion Task Force first meeting. Tensions persist now between Governor Matt Meyer's administration and state lawmakers, over board nominations and cooperation. Now, Matt Meyer criticized the Senate's rejection of 2 Republican nominees, while Senator Darius Brown condemned the governor's absence from the meeting despite Instructure's progress updates. The political clash threatens to stall a $635 million project that's aimed at expanding the state's maritime capacity. This port conversation doesn't seem to want to end.
No, it doesn't. And just to throw some more stats at you, this port is expected to bring 6,000 jobs to Delaware and to account for $383 million in the state's GNP annually. So it's a huge project, and one would hope that the political machinations that are going on at the top level will be solved, and it'll move forward, because it does seem like it's something good for the Delaware economy.
Yeah, definitely. The port's huge.
Yeah.
For not just here in Delaware, but the whole coast.
Yes, well, when the accident happened in Baltimore, Delaware stepped up.
Right.
And, fortunately, they did avert a strike there a few months ago, but it is a big topic in this area, definitely.
Keep you posted. Hey, speaking of Governor Meyer, he announced plans this week to eliminate the state's electric vehicle sales mandate. This is surprising to many, reversing former Governor John Carney's regulation requiring 43% of new 2027 model vehicles to be electric or plug-in hybrid cars. Now, Carney's rule, which was adopted in 2023, despite public opposition, aimed to reach 82% by the year 2032. Now, Matt Meyer, a fellow Democrat, as we know, said that buyers should choose freely. Now, environmentalists criticized the move, warning of poorer air quality, while auto dealers applauded the move. Meyer didn't specify, Patty, though, how he'll reverse the rule exactly, but he did pledge that it will not take effect under his administration. Electric vehicle sales have been actually rising in Delaware.
They have been rising, yes, but to get to 83% by, what year was it, 2032?
So
that's 7 years
not a math
from
major,
now?
but 7 years, yeah.
I don't know the statistic, and I should know it, of how many EV owners there are, the percentage of folks in Delaware that are driving electric vehicles, strictly electrical vehicles, and it's nowhere close to 83%.
Yeah, I don't know many of them, to be honest.
No,
I know some that have
neither.
hybrids.
What do you think of electric cars yourself? Would you get one?
Fan. I don't know, not until
I'm too
other
old
people.
School, too old and too old school, probably. But
I
maybe,
mean,
maybe I'll get a hybrid.
I would start with a hybrid.
Start with a hybrid.
See how it goes.
Yeah.
Hey, in other news, some sad news out of Lower Delaware today. A former Little Creek firefighter is facing felony charges today after police say that he used the company's credit card for some personal purchases. State police say 30-year-old Raheem Clifton from Dover turned himself in on April 27th. An investigation began after the department discovered that more than $3,600 in unauthorized charges showed up. He's been charged with felony theft and unlawful use of a payment card, but was released on his own recognizance. It's always hard to hear when something like that happens, especially with a fire company that's there to do good, and there's not, you know what I mean? It's tough.
It does. But fortunately, these things are so rare that it doesn't impact the community's goodwill toward fire companies.
To the citizens it
serves.
serves.
To the citizens. I mean, a few bad apples here and there. Every
and they get caught. They don't think they will, but they get caught.
And every industry has them.
Please.
Yeah.
All right, hey, moving on. For decades, Delaware patients with life-threatening burns were just rushed across the state line to one of the region's top treatment centers. You probably have heard this on our Philly news, but now there's a big problem happening. Crozier Health in nearby Delaware County, PA, officially closed its doors last week on April 21st, taking with it emergency services, ambulance access, and most importantly, a nationally recognized burn center. The closure is part of a broader shutdown by Crozier's parent company. They're called Prospect Medical Holdings, for which the company filed bankruptcy after years of financial struggles. The sad part about this is that more than 2,600 workers have lost their jobs in an instant. Delaware hospitals, including Christiana Care, had long sent burn victims up to Crozier for treatment. Now they're having to scramble and work with Pennsylvania officials to fill the gap in that burn care. But no direct replacement has been announced yet. Delaware has no specialized burn center of its own in the state, so that definitely leaves a hole in care.
Yeah, and I was shocked to find out, to get a sense of how many people this affect. A 2020 report found that 33,000 people in Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey, and Delaware suffered burn injuries. So it's not a rare occurrence for someone to need burn treatment, unfortunately, in our state. And hopefully, I'm sure the hospital is working diligently to find a replacement.
Yeah, I'm curious to know what is the closest now that Crozier's gone to burn center. I don't even know.
Okay, I'm going to write that down on the list of questions.
List of questions for a follow-up.
For follow-up.
Hey, you want to take a trip to Legislative Hall? Let's go. Legislative Hall, where Delaware Democrats have introduced a new bill. It's causing some controversy that could lower electric bills and gas bills for low-income families. But as you may imagine, it's facing some pushback today. The proposal would give discounts to residents who qualify for the federally funded Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program that's often known as LIHEAP. It's including families of 4 earning under $72,000 a year, but to cover the cost, all customers, regardless of income, would pay a small surcharge. Republicans like Representative Brian Shoup say that that's unfair to middle-class families and could drive up rates all across the board for everyone. Now, supporters of the bill address rising costs and aims to help those who most need it. Now, a Senate committee is expected to take up the bill in the coming weeks. Now, I also wanted to bring up this next story because in related news, people here in Wilmington have been lining up overnight, some of them, Patty, as early as, get this, 10:30 the night before, just to get some help paying their energy bills. The rush is for, like I said, LIHEAP, the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, to help. And that's offered at Catholic Charities on the city's west side. The federally funded program helps low-income families pay for heat, pay for electricity. As you know from hearing the news, the demand is very high right now for some help, but that help is limited. Now, some days, Catholic Charities staff can only process a handful of applications, having to unfortunately turn dozens of people away at the door. Delmarva Power rate hikes are making things even worse, as we've heard in the news. Bills are up more than $100 a month for some customers in the state. Now, another increase, to make matters worse for customers, is coming around the corner on June 1st. Catholic Charities says the process needs to change right now. People have to apply in person, and that's creating a bottleneck in the process. Leaders say only about 1 in 5 eligible families are getting assistance right now.
Well, one would hope the bill contains something about assisting the folks who need the assistance.
The most.
Because if they can't get the assistance that's available, then it doesn't do any good.
Right.
And the bill also talks about, as I think you mentioned, Matt, that they want to establish a Delaware Energy Fund for moderate income holders, not so that would impact more people, and help, hopefully assist more people.
Right. And listen, I don't have a family, don't claim that I'm here to raise a family, but that stat of $72,000 to raise a family of 4, that's not a lot in the economy that we're in. $72,000 on a family of 4, that's stretching it.
Yeah, it really is.
It is.
It really is.
And we'll keep you posted. Hey, in related news, Delaware's Housing Stability Program launched in August with federal COVID-era funding. It's ending its resources run as they run out. The initiative helped over 1,400 households avoid eviction. Delaware State Housing Authority's Matthew Heckles says remaining aid will be distributed on a first-come, first-served basis. Though other assistance exists, he warns it's more limited. He urges renters in need to apply immediately before the application portal closes. The Delaware Housing Authority is exploring new ways to support tenants there.
Yeah.
All right. And Governor Matt Meyer and the Division of Small Business announced that a $14 million investment for small business owners will be distributed before the end of the year. That's good news. The program offers access to loan and direct investments in high-impact startups. Funds are available to all small businesses, especially those in underserved or economically disadvantaged communities. For more information, you can visit business.delaware.gov. So some good news there for small businesses.
And small businesses run the engine of the economy, totally. Everyone always says. So excellent news for some small businesses in Delaware. I was, as I was looking at this story, I was thinking, what kind of small business could I start?
Right.
I don't know.
You have some hobbies. We should tell them.
I do. I have some mosaicing hobbies.
You're beautiful.
Yeah.
I've been to your house. I've seen them.
Thank you.
They're beautiful. All right, hey, we're going to Smyrna now, where Ken Olson, listen to this, Ken Olson has won a seat on Smyrna's town council by 6 singular votes. But with another council member stepping down, they had quite a council meeting. Voters may be heading back to the polls, though. Olson defeated incumbent Mike Rasmussen in a 4-way at-large race on April 29th. The certified results will be reviewed at the May 7th council meeting. Meanwhile, long-term councilman Bill Presley resigned just days before the election, citing concerns over how the town removed a mayoral candidate from the ballot. That decision left Councilwoman Tabitha Gott unopposed, and now, since she's unopposed, she's going to serve as mayor. The council is expected to discuss how to fill Presley's seat at next week's reorganizational meeting. So a lot happening in Smyrna.
As usual.
And a little further south, Dover city council leaders are advocating for a 3 to 5% local cannabis tax. We're hearing about this tax all around the state in different municipalities to support law enforcement, EMS, and addiction services. It was introduced Tuesday. The plan addresses concerns that municipalities shoulder legalization costs without sharing in Delaware's 15% state marijuana tax revenue. Now, Mayor Christensen of Dover and Council President Anderson argued the tax would ensure fairness. The proposal gained unanimous committee support and seeks coordination with Wilmington and Newcastle County. Further discussion is slated for May 12th.
I think we can all count on marijuana sales being taxed.
Oh, yeah.
Another one of those sin taxes, as they call them.
Sin taxes.
On cigarettes,
alcohol, right. Tobacco, whatever it is.
all the vices.
Right.
All the vices get taxed.
That's right.
And, most folks think that it's a reasonable.
I mean, it's
a
not
reasonable,
a singular percentage.
A percentage, and
Right.
it'll help the smaller municipalities.
Right. And it's going to be big business when it opens.
I would think it's going to be big business.
Right.
Yeah. All right, how many licenses in Delaware? 15 for 15?
Yeah, 15. They had to do a lottery because it was a large number of applicants.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, a little further south now, a 4-story building could be coming down in downtown Milford, but not without some neighborhood pushback. Developers Zach and Marissa King want to build a mixed-use space on North Walnut Street. That's not Wilmington, that's Milford. With 6 commercial units, 16 apartments, and possibly a rooftop restaurant. I can get down with that. But to do that, they're asking the city for several zoning variances, including raising the height limit from 35 to 52 feet and allowing much higher residential density. Some nearby residents and business owners say that they're concerned about parking, noise, and whether the building fits the historic district of Milford. A public hearing is set there for May 8th at Milford City Hall.
That will be a well-attended public hearing.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Especially from neighbors
Yes.
who don't, yeah.
Yes. A skyscraper comes to Milford, and I'm exaggerating. Right. It's how many? 50?
52 would
52.
be the max. 52.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Hey, some sad news here. A child playing with a lighter sparked a house fire in Lincoln, Delaware Wednesday morning, causing $200,000 in damage. That's according to officials. They have said that luckily all people in the house escaped safely from the Ryan's Run home before emergency crews arrived. Now that blaze, extinguished in about 2 hours or so, began in a bedroom. No injuries were reported. The child was referred to a fire safety program. Smoke detectors did likely aid in the family's escape from that house. All right, the Delaware Department of Natural Resources, or DNREC as we know them, reminds residents that the statewide, ironically, open burn ban is in effect from today, May 1st through September 30th. The ban helps limit ground level ozone and improves air quality. While cooking fires and campfires are allowed, they may be restricted on air quality action days. Illegal burning of materials, listen up, like leaves and trash is strictly prohibited. Don't do it. Report violations. If you want to report your neighbors, I guess you can do that to DNREC's hotline at 800-662-8802.
Now, I'm old enough to remember when we used to be able to burn big piles of leaves.
Right.
And I loved that in the fall. I grew up in New York, but we used to rake the leaves into these huge piles.
And then just light them on fire?
Light them on fire. And
What if it's spread to like a shed? Oh my goodness.
You know, it was back in the 70s. They just burn, baby, burn. And my dad used to wrap potatoes in aluminum foil and put them in the fire, and we'd eat them afterwards. They were called Mickeys, and they were delicious.
All right.
So, but don't burn to get a Mickey.
To get a baked potato.
Yeah, but get a baked potato somewhere else. Okay.
Hey, now with the burn ban now in effect and air quality is, of course, top of mind, let's check in with your forecast. Shakara has a look at what to expect across the first state this week. How's it looking there, Shakara?
It's looking fantastic, Matt. High temps coupled with sunshine always brings positive energy. Hey, DETV fam, it's your favorite weather bestie bringing you the weekend weather forecast for the first state. We've got sunshine, a few sprinkles, and a whole lot of fun to look forward to. Let's get right into it. For Feel Good Friday, expect partly sunny skies. Temps will hit a warm 81 degrees with lows dipping to around 59 degrees. And on Saturday, we are starting off bright with highs near 84 degrees, but don't forget that umbrella because afternoon thunderstorms could pop up in the evening with lows falling to about 60 degrees. And wrapping up the weekend on Sunday, temps stay warm in the mid 80s during the day with a few scattered afternoon showers. Overnight lows will be around 60 degrees as well. Now for some events happening across Delaware. Friday night kicks off the weekend with the Dover Days Festival at First State Heritage Park in Dover. From 5 to 9 p.m., visitors can enjoy a wide range of food trucks from local vendors, giving you a taste of Kent County's best food. There will also be historical walking tours and a fireworks show lighting up the Dover sky. Guess what? Admission is free and the festival lasts all weekend. If you will be at the beach this weekend, you don't want to miss the Southern Delaware Food and Wine Festival at Rehoboth. You can experience Delaware's most indulgent wine, food and music, craft beer and cocktails, bands, bourbon tasting, a silent auction, a wine wall, a live artist demonstration, and so much more. Check out their website for ticket information as well as a calendar of events. And now for my favorite part of the forecast, Shakara's Spotlight. I have to let everyone know about the Zero Gravity Basketball Tournament happening in Wilmington. If you're a parent like me, there is nothing like watching your kids give it their all on the court, the energy, the hustle. It's definitely a must-see. You can check out the Mid-Atlantic Regional Championship games this Saturday and Sunday at the Chase Fieldhouse and the NBN Sports Academy. For the full schedule, go to ZeroGravityBasketball.com. Today marks the beginning of Mental Health Awareness Month, and whether you are enjoying the sunshine or the sprinkles, this weekend is what you make it. Show up with joy and take a moment for you this weekend because your mind deserves a little sunshine too. Enjoy your weekend. Back to you, Matt.
Shakara, thank you so much. Great as always. We will see you again next week. In other news this week, scammers, we told you about this at the top of the hour here, are sending fake texts claiming that you owe toll fees. I've got plenty of these. And that payment is due immediately via some shady links. These messages mimic E-ZPass and similar services, but don't be fooled. Official agencies will never request payments by text, so do not click any links or share any personal information. Don't even reply to it. Delete the message and report it to the Internet Crime Complaint Center. That's ic3.gov. To stay safe and stay informed, you can follow Newcastle County Police on social media or visit nccpdnews.com. They have great tips there, so check that out. And from fake fees to real scores, let's head over to sports now, where spring playoff season is heating up across Delaware. Let's check in with our Nick Alessandrini, who's live in studio today. Hey, Nick.
Thanks, Matt. And now less than a month away from playoffs in our high school spring sports, we have the new rankings and results from this past week. Plus, 2 local colleges will battle it out this week in the CACC baseball tournament. But we start with some new additions for the Blue Hens for next season. And UD football announced earlier this week the addition of the University of Central Florida quarterback transfer Riley Trujillo. Trujillo was the 11th ranked dual threat quarterback in the 2023 class, and he did not see the field as a freshman last season at Central Florida, and now he heads to Newark to join that quality quarterback room under head coach Ryan Carty. So big waves there for the recruitment there in the University of Delaware, but they are not done. They're also making some additions on the hardwood. The Blue Hens added to the men's basketball program with Nana Njoku, the transfer from Villanova, and Alex Kazanecki, a recruit from Archbishop Mahler High School in Ohio. Njoku is a Delaware native who won multiple state championships at Sanford High School, and Kazanicki is the High School District Player of the Year in Montgomery, Ohio. Well, we're going to stick with the Blue Hens for a little bit longer. 2 Blue Hen football players have signed deals with teams as undrafted free agents. Running back Marcus Yarns and DB Tyron Herring will both continue their football careers with the Saints and the Packers in the NFL after great careers in the blue and yellow. Yarns was the best available running back on the board after the NFL draft this past weekend. To some other college news here, as Goldie Beacom and Wilmington University will meet in the CACC baseball tournament this week as both programs prepare for potentially playing in the Division II baseball regional. If both teams finish pretty well this weekend, they'll make the regional, which is set to take place next week, with the location to be determined. So Wilmington and Goldie Beacom looking really good. They're ranked in the top 5 now. And again, they just got to take care of business this week, and they will be back in action in the regional. Now to our high school recap and rankings as we approach the playoffs again, which are less than 1 month away. And first, we start with baseball and the results from over the weekend. So we're going to have that on your screen now, your results for this past week of baseball. And again, some big time games there. You check them out on your screen. Appa with a big 7-6 win over Middletown. Hodson 6-5 over St. Elizabeth's. Sussex Central over Delmar, and some other scores there for you on both sides. A big one for St. Mark's over Caravel 2-1. They also blanked Sally's earlier this week, so big wins for the Spartans coming up there on the baseball side of things. Now we're going to head to the circle and softball, and our softball scores here from over the weekend, again, as we head in to this weekend coming up. So take a look now at our softball scores there. Smyrna over Indian River, Red Lion over Archmere, Dover 1-0 over St. Elizabeth's, Lake Forest, they stay hot, 7-4 over Sussex Central. They are up atop those rankings that we will get to in a little bit. Caravel 3-1 over Delmar, St. Mark's over Sussex Academy, and Smyrna over DMA. So there's baseball, there's softball. Now let's check out lacrosse for boys and girls. These are both boys and girls scores here from this past week. All of this is courtesy of the DIAA. You can follow them on Facebook. So now let's take a look at our lacrosse. Again, both girls and boys on your screen right now. Over the boys side, St. Andrews over St. Mark's. Sanford, they're hanging around the top 10. They get a 6-5 win over Tower Hill. Red Lion over Conrad. Friends over DMA. A few others mixed in there too. Cape Penlopen, your number 2 team in the state, with a big 17-6 win over Avongrove. To the girls' side there, Tower Hill over Archmere. Cesar Rodney gets a win. St. Mark's wins on the girls' side as well. And then Cape Penlopen with another victory over Archmere. So Cape Penlopen continuing to roll there for lacrosse. So there's lacrosse. We've been baseball. We've done softball. So let's finish it up. Girls soccer, golf, and tennis alongside boys volleyball. All these scores are going to be on your screen in one graphic right here, right now. You can check them out here. Dennis is going to have them up for you, so you can take a look. Those are all the results from those sports across this past weekend. Girls soccer, tennis, volleyball, and golf, as Sanford gets the win over Tower Hill by 3 strokes in our only golf matchup. Boys volleyball, Dover, Odyssey, Sally's getting some wins there. In tennis, Newark Charter, St. Andrews, Tower Hill getting victories. And then you see the girls soccer as well with Wilmington Christian, Tower Hill, Newark Charter, and Wilmington Christian. So with those results, now come the rankings. These spring sports rankings brought to you by 302 Sports, and we start with baseball. How about that? Sally's sitting right back atop those rankings here at this point in the spring, coming off a state championship last year. Cape Penlopen at 2, Conrad 3, Sussex Central 4, Sussex Tech 5, and then CR, St. Mark's, Newark Charter, Polytech, and Sanford rounding out your top 10. St. Mark's, a few big wins. They're going to creep up those rankings come next week. Now to softball. We just mentioned Lake Forest, with those Spartans still sitting at number 1 there on softball. Cape Penlopen, your number 2 team, followed by Apo, Caravel, and Polytech. St. Mark's getting in there towards the back end alongside Delmar, Sussex Academy, Smyrna, and then DMA grabbing that 10 spot. And now to boys and girls lacrosse, and we're going to start with the boys. Once again, at Salesian, I'm sitting at number 1, Cape at number 2. They're going to be battling out all year long a potential state championship in the wings there with those 2 teams. Archmere, Friends, CR, and Smyrna, and then followed by Tatnall, Apo, St. Andrews, and Sanford. So for girls lacrosse, Cape Penlopen, they're at number 1. Cesar Rodney at 2. Tower Hill, Friends, and Archmere rounding out the top 5. And then Caravel, Sussex Academy, Indian River, Concord, and DMA. And finally, to girls soccer, both Division I and Division II. We'll start with D1, Apo, Wilmington Charter, Del Castle, Middletown, and Padua, and then CR, Cape, Polytech, Sussex Central, Odessa. to Division II as we round out our rankings. Caryville, your #1 team, followed by St. Mark's High School, Sussex Academy, Newark Charter, Delmar, Friends, Red Lion, Archmere, Indian River, and Lake Forest at that 10 spot. And to round us out today, Matt, the DIAA, they've officially announced the sites for our Spring Sports Championship. So you can see all the sports and the sites on your screen right now. And remember, the spring playoffs are set to begin on May 16th, right around the corner, guys.
Nick, hardest working man in broadcast. He's all over the place, I tell you. Nick, thank you. More headlines for you now. Wilmington's beloved People's Festival honoring reggae legend Bob Marley will end after a 30-year run. Co-founded by Jenny Pitts and Marley's mother, Cedella, the event celebrated Marley's deep Delaware ties. Health concerns have prompted Pitts to step back, closing a cherished chapter here in Wilmington. Over the years, the festival featured Marley's children, the Wailers, and stars like Chris One. Organizers say a future revival isn't off the table, so watch out for that. But for now, unfortunately, it's farewell after this year's People's Festival.
I've been involved with the festival for several years and have gone to several, and not only did they have good music, but they had good vibes. I mean, it was just a really nice festival, super diverse, tons of families, lots of kids.
I remember as long as you and I have been working with each other now for about 5 years, you've been heavily involved ever since I've worked with you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm friendly with the organizer, Jenny, and she's a wonderful woman. And it's just, I'm sad to see it go.
Well, let's hope it's a temporary pause.
Yeah,
and it'll come back in
but
another
Jenny's
shape or
given
form.
30 years.
It's
time.
Thank you, Honest, for her.
Yes,
that's
thank
amazing.
you, Jenny Pitts. And it's time for someone else to step
Pick up that torch.
Yeah.
Huh? Cool. Hey, some exciting news from my friends at the Delaware Symphony Orchestra. They've appointed Michelle DeRusso as its next music director following a global search that began back in 2023. DeRusso will begin her tenure in the 2025-2026 season, marking the DSO's 120th anniversary. Praised for her energy and vision, she was a standout during the 24-25 season. DeRusso expressed gratitude and excitement about joining the orchestra. The DSO community, involving musicians, board, and staff, unanimously supported her selection. Her debut as music director will be, mark your calendars, October 10th of this year. Subscriptions go on sale in just a few weeks. Congratulations, and they're such talent. Oh
yeah, they are. And the organization really just bent over backwards to introduce the finalists to the community,
right,
and
to really immerse them.
Yeah. And I'm sure that that the new music director is going to be great.
I'm excited to see her in action.
Yeah, definitely.
Some more exciting news this week. The Delaware Community Foundation has announced the Meet the Moment grant program. Beginning today, Delaware nonprofits can apply for grants up to $20,000 to adapt to shifting landscapes. With $425,000 available, Meet the Moment grants are designed to help the nonprofits identify uncertain ties in the current environment that will affect their mission. The grants can support a variety of needs, including financial forecasting, exploring new revenue models, legal support for mergers, storytelling, and more. Applications, mark your calendars, are due coming up shortly, May 30th, and they can be found on the DCF website. An optional online information session will be held on May 7th from noon to 1 o'clock, so check out their website for more information there. And hey, Patty, it's been a while since I've been to prom, and they did not have this when I went to prom, but it's cool for those who are watching who are either going to prom or have kids going to prom. Uber is offering teens a safer way to get to the big night. Starting this week, Uber is giving away 2 free rides, up to $20 each, for prom-related events. The offer is for new teen account users that covers ages 13 to 17. Now, teen accounts come with some good safety features that parents might like to know, like live and real-time trip tracking and updates for parents. Uber XL is also available for groups if you have a large prom group going, and there's even $20 off an Uber Eats order for those late-night munchies, post-prom snacks. The deal runs now through May 31st or until supplies run out.
That's Uber stepping up.
I love it.
Yeah,
they've done that for the past couple years, and good for them.
Yeah, I mean, the prom season is always one that's joyful, but also can bring tragedy.
Right.
So
hopefully it'll
help
many people.
Yeah.
Well, Patty, this has been fun. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me,
Thanks
Matt.
for the commentary.
I'll come back next week
Let's
if you
do it.
want.
I would love it.
Okay.
That wraps up your week in review in the first state. Be sure to follow us across your favorite social media platforms for more updates on what's happening all around our great state of Delaware. And hey, we want to know what you think truly of today's format of the show. Your feedback is important to us as it shapes how we move forward with the news. If you have a comment, question, news, or sports tip for Nick, send it our way. You know where to go, press@detvch.com. For Patty, Shakara, and Nick, and all of us here at DETV, I'm Matt Ford. We'll see you right back here next week. Good night. We don't talk about prostate cancer enough, and it's the most diagnosed form of cancer and the second most common cause of cancer death among Black men in both Delaware and the United States. Approximately 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime, but just by asking your healthcare provider if you should get a screening could help you detect prostate cancer early and save your life. So let's talk about it. Talk to your healthcare provider today about a prostate cancer screening if you are 40 years of age or older, or have a family history of prostate cancer. If you don't have insurance, or if your insurance doesn't pay for cancer screenings, Screening for Life may provide you with the screenings that you need, and Nurse Navigators make this process easier. To learn more, visit healthydelaware.org/prostate or call 211. Ask your healthcare provider about a prostate cancer screening, and you're asking for so much more.
My name is Jason Aviles, and I am the founder and owner of Fly Yogi, and I'm here to share with you some tips to be able to help fight opioid addiction. Opioid addiction is a real growing problem here in America, and I'm here to share with you some tips that you can be able to integrate into your everyday life to really fight against opioid addiction. One of the first things is redeveloping your mindset. One of the practices that I like to use daily is meditation. And what meditation does is it brings you clarity of mind, and it helps keep you grounded, and it improves your ability to make decisions that you are going to benefit from. A lot of the time we find that addiction is rooted in our mindset. It's rooted in how we think and how we perceive, and therefore how we act. So this is a really good way to help fight against that energy of addiction. The second thing is improving your lifestyle through diet and exercise. At the very root of addiction, there is substances within the body that's causing the addiction on a physical level. When we begin to introduce healthier foods, plant-based foods, we begin to remove and detox the substances that are in our body that's causing and attracting the addiction. So through incorporating more fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, and even drinking water on a daily basis, you're going to put your body in a state where it's going to be able to fight the root causes of these addictions. The second part is exercise. Exercise is good for mood. It's good for energy. It's good to increase vitality. It's good to get your heart pumping and get your blood flowing and get oxygen moving throughout the body. So through engaging in physical exercise, complemented by incorporating healthier foods, you're putting your body and your mind in a state where it does not want what's causing these things that are manifesting negatively in your life. So addiction can really be decreased by just incorporating a healthier lifestyle through diet and nutrition, exercise, and then also making sure that you're tackling the mind through mindset, through meditation.